Dash 14 from the first 4 deliveries.
Short. That's hit him.
It's lodged itself in the helmet.
Absolutely has. Stuck in the visor. That really is an eyeball.
I have seen it once before, but he's going to have a concussion test as well. They talk about keeping your eye on the ball. Well, this has taken it to the next extreme. He must have got an absolute shock when he must have thought it was making contact right between the grill. I think it might have been the top edge, but it lodged itself in there. And when he opened his eyes, he would have still seen the ball. He would have thought, well, what's on the go?
You can notice the bounce on that particular delivery. He got surprised because it bounced a little bit high, maybe a bit of a bat there also. So important as a batter, when you picked up boundaries, you mentioned 14 runs already in the over, take your time.
Well, you have to go through these protocols. It's mandatory. But heck of a shock. I recall that happening to Stuart Broad. It's the Indian pace Varun Aaron. I can't remember the ground. It might have been Headingley. Might not have been. Might have been Old Trafford. But Stuart Broad got one in that stayed in his visor.
Yeah, the key is to actually work out the distance between the peak and the visor, is to make sure that the ball can't fit through. So he's got that perfectly strategically placed that even though it did make contact and went on the up into that gap, it didn't get through. It just stuck in there.
Last night we had the most incredible game of cricket between the West Indies and New Zealand. West Indies were 30 for 5 and then Shafane Rutherford came in. It was a magnificent display. 76 not out off 38. 37 in the last 2 overs. Shafane Rutherford 68 from 39. And he rescued West Indies from what was looking like a heavy defeat. They made 149 for 9, and in reply New Zealand 136 for 9, with Alzari Joseph picking up 4 for 19, 3 for 25 for Modi, and that means that West Indies have qualified for the Super 8s, and they were in dire straits. So New Zealand are out. Afghanistan looking strong in that group, but West Indies have qualified. Well, not, I suppose you could say mathematically New Zealand still have a chance, but it's looking precarious.
Yeah, the net run rate's down at minus 2.43, so a lot of work for them to do. You wouldn't have picked that at the start of the tournament.
This is the real time. This is Tanzid Hassan Tamim. The ball actually lodged in the visor, stayed there. Well, that'll just tell you how good these visors and these helmets are, because that's protected his eyeball, his eye socket, his forehead.
Yeah, a lot of the visors have moved. They used to be kind of sort of steel, and now they've gone into titanium to make sure that they're lighter, because obviously the helmet can be quite a heavy mechanical thing to carry amongst your head.
Right, the slip has come out now. So we've got a deep backward square leg side and a deep backward point. There's our 2 fielders outside the circle for the power play. Only 2 allowed outside for the first 6 overs. Final ball of the 3rd coming. Cracked away. Pringle's after it, and he can't stop it, going for 4. The 3 gone, 23 for 1.
অনেক বছর তো চেষ্টা করলাম ভাই, এখন অবস্থা এতই টক্সিক মন আর সায় দিচ্ছে না। এই যে দেখেন কি ড্যাম্প।
আপনার মতো অনেকেই ড্যাম্পের সাথে টক্সিক রিলেশনে ভুগছেন, যে কারণে হতে পারে হাঁচি, কাশি, শ্বাসকষ্ট সহ নানা রকম স্বাস্থ্য ঝুঁকি। তাই আর নয়, ড্যাম্প ওয়ালের সাথে টক্সিক রিলেশন। বার্জার মিস্টার এক্সপার্ট ড্যাম্প গার্ডই সঠিক সলিউশন।
ভ্যানিলা আইসক্রিমের সাথে রিচ চকলেট কোটিং এর দুর্দান্ত কম্বিনেশন। পোলার চকোবার মিনি, পোলার আইসক্রিম, মন ভালো থাক।
Island there, not the small one that looks a little bit like a sort of cupcake. One next to it, it's called Young Island. Some of our crew are staying on there. boat with the lights going back at night. Here's Aryan Dutt. Lytton Das goes for the sweep, goes for the sweep. Oh, that's a catch! Engelbrecht with a catch for St. Vincent and the Grenadines will always remember.
Seibrand Engelbrecht, you little beauty. He had to cover a lot of ground. We've talked about the breeze. It was behind square leg where he was initially situated, but covered a lot of ground. That's going on the sweep, a little bit more bounce, gets the top end. But he watched it thoroughly to the end and then just had to extend those arms at the last minute just to make sure he could get them underneath. And that is brilliant. Exactly what the Netherlands were after. They picked up their second. But Das has to be on his way for one. 23 for 2.
টি-20 বিশ্বকাপ শুধুমাত্র বাঙালিকে 30% সাশ্রয়।
5 কেজি মাংস রান্নায় 145 টাকার মশলা লাগে।
আর রাঁধুনি কিনলে লাগে মাত্র 95 টাকা। খরচ কম,
স্বাদ বেশি। রাঁধুনি মাংসের মশলা।
হেজেলনাট কোটিং আর ক্রিসপি চিপসের ক্রাঞ্চি স্বাদে জায়েন্জি ইউরেকা। টফি কোটিং আর ক্রিসপি চিপসের মাঞ্চি স্বাদে জায়েন্জি এপিক। শুরু হবে, শেষ হবে না। এপিক ইউরেকা ছাড়া থাকা যাবে না।
জায়েন্জি
At 4 for Bangladesh's side in a little bit of a pickle here. Strike rate of 121. His best is 84, 12 half centuries in this glittering career, heading towards 2,500 runs. And it's Aryan Dutt who's certainly made his presence felt as the incoming player in this Netherlands side. Starting with a slip now. And I think that Sakib will just have a look at what he's got to contend with here, this pitch. As you said, Atta, have a look. Lytton Das didn't do that.
He's only facing his second delivery, and this is brilliant. This is stunning because I thought he might have just mistimed the dive, but at the very end had to outstretch right at the edge of the fingertips, and it takes the beauty. But having a look at that shot, remember 18 runs in the previous over. Take a single, give it back to Tanzir Hassan Tamim. He's the one who's picking up boundaries.
Ringer fielders offside. There is a slip because we are looking at the tall off spin who's bowling round the wicket. Well, we saw Seibrand Engelbrecht in the 2008 Under-19 World Cup in Malaysia. He took brilliant catches then, and he's just doing it 16 years later. He was playing for South Africa, but then he is in the orange of the Netherlands. Brilliant. Short of a length, picked up nicely. That is 4. It's a tremendous effort by Logan van Beek, diving to save the boundary.
That's exactly what my point was when Lichun Kumar Das got himself dismissed in this over. Already seen that Tanzir Hassan has been good, especially by picking up boundaries. He's already picked up a few in the previous over. And now this picked up his first against Aryan Dutt. So important for even someone like Shakib Al Hassan. When he is on strike, make sure he gives the strike back to the youngster to bat because he's batting beautifully so far.
Another example of a good bounce from that delivery. Obviously the sweep shot bounced a lot. That one we were able to pull away, so a good surface. And Wilco, I reckon, I don't know how their selection process works, whether they're a chief selector or convener or whether it's the coach or the captain, but whoever it is, they'll be giving themselves